Break Fix Podcast is all about capturing the living history of people from all over the autosphere, from wrench turners and racers to artists, authors, designers, and everything in between. Our goal is to inspire a new generation of petrol heads that wonder, how did they get that job or become that person? The road to success is paved by all of us because everyone has a story.
Each box contains hand-picked items, including tools, wearables, garage gear, detailing supplies, magazines, collectibles, and coupons. Whoa, what are we talking about, you ask? Tonight, we're joined by John Sahr from PetrolBox to discuss why this Petrolhead curated monthly box is something you'll be anxiously anticipating. Welcome to Break Fix, John.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, so like every good story, there's an origin. So what inspired PetrolBox? Where did this come from? Where did you come up with the idea?
Well, me and my son used to get loot crates back in the day. We're kind of nerds as well. I was just thinking at work one day, man, there's nothing out there for the car enthusiast. I was a mechanic at the time. So originally my thought was a toolbox, but that's really hard to do with tools, and most mechanics have their own preferences. So I just kind of like morphed it into a car enthusiast box and just went with it.
And you're based out of Ohio, so right in the center of the domestic car world.
Yeah, we're in Columbus, Ohio. Huge car following. Jags is based out of here, so we get a lot of really big American muscle shows here. It's a pretty nice area for the most part, other than the winter. You still get rust buckets up here.
So let's talk a little bit about your car history. So what are some of your favorite cars or least favorite cars? Maybe even motorsports past.
I'm really like a Toyota guy. Mostly always have been. I've been into vintage Toyota, well, old Toyotas really. Right now I have a 1986 Corolla two-door coupe. That's the last of the rear-wheel drive Corollas. And I also have a 1980 Toyota Corolla wagon. That's a rear-wheel drive station wagon. Those are my two like kind of fun cars. The 86 coupe I've been building. It's kind of like my drift car, but the more and more we've been doing track events lately, I kind of want to make it like a do everything kind of car. The wagon is just kind of like my nice go to the Saturday Cars and Coffee show.
So that 86, that's the infamous Hachiroku, right? That everybody knows from like Initial D and Drift Kings and things like that.
Yeah, mine's a coupe. Most people, they love the hatch because that's what Initial D had. But I've always been a coupe guy. I've probably had 9 or 10 of them over the years.
For the Ford guys, that would be like a notchback Fox body versus the fastback, right? That's what you're saying with the coupe.
Yeah, because a lot of people prefer the coupes. Yeah, just like a Fox body for the most part. I also prefer a notchback Fox body as well.
So drift, huh? So you're coming out of that world. So what are, in your opinion, some of the best drift cars outside of the 86s?
Really, the A86 is not like a great drift car. It's a pretty good one, but it's got such a short wheelbase. 240SX is like the king. You can't really get any better than a 240SX, no matter what year it is.
So do you think we got shortchanged when it came to JDM cars? Like they still kept all the good stuff? Or do you think there's some real gems, maybe some cars that people didn't think about that are here in the States that could be built upon?
No, I think that there's a lot of good cars that we got here in the States. Really, it's just the late 90s that we kind of got screwed on. You know, we didn't get the S15s. We never got the Skylines and whatnot like that. But there's a lot of good cars here in America. We have friends with the Catfish Camaros that drift. I've seen Fox bodies out there. I've seen C5s. That's kind of a big thing now, is the C5s are getting really big in the drift community.
There is even a spec C5 track series being born, I believe, out of the West Coast. So that's kind of interesting that we're seeing a resurgence in the fifth
C5s,
generation Corvettes. Yeah.
They're starting to get down there in price. And I think people are realizing what kind of value those cars really bring.
Yeah, they weren't the most attractive Corvette, but they had a lot of good things underneath. I've gotten a chance to coach in many of them and drive a few, and they're actually phenomenal. I mean, when you're behind the steering wheel, does it really matter what it looks like?
Well, and it's the latch of the pop-up headlights. You know, you're either a pop-up headlight guy or you're not.
It's very true. And actually, we talked about it on a recent drive-through episode where the C5 Corvette was the last car to have pop-up headlights in the world, period. So it's actually kind of cool to keep that tradition all the way up to like 2004. So it's kind of neat. So that being said, what do you think is the sexiest car ever in your opinion? Like something you strive for, something you want?
If I were to like win the lottery or something like that, It's got to be like a 2000 GT Toyota. That's my like unobtainable dream car that I know I'll never be able to reach. But I've seen a few of them at like Japanese classic car show out in Long Beach. We've been to the Peterson. They have one of the convertibles there, and those cars are just beautiful.
And on the other side of that pendulum swing, what's just the ugliest car ever?
Oh man, there are so many of them.
Well, how about JDM? Since you're a JDM guy, or the ugliest Toyota for that matter, is there one?
It's hard for me to say though, because I really like a lot of cars, pretty much every kind of car. Some of those mid 90s, like Toyota Starlets we didn't get here. Those are kind of weird looking cars, but a lot of them came with turbos too, so they're kind of neat. But to each their own. Everybody has their own thing.
Absolutely. So let's jump back into PetrolBox. That's what we're here to talk about, right? So obviously you're a petrol head, come from the JDM and drift world. So let's talk about PetrolBox itself. You know, we know where it came from, where you got the idea. So what was in the first PetrolBox?
So the first PetrolBox was actually 5 years ago, pretty much exactly. We sent out in November 2016. It had some products from Jack's Wax. They're a local Columbus company, so we work with them frequently. So, and then it also had apparel from Scotch and Iron, one of our long affiliated companies that we work with quite regularly. It's been so long ago. It's hard to think that we've been sending these out for 5 years.
What are some of the coolest items that you've put in a box after all these years? Something you're like, man, I wish we could do that again, or that was one of the hottest things that we put in a box.
Yeah, that's one hard thing that we have to kind of balance is we can't send the same items all that often, you know, because we do have customers that have been subscribers for pretty much 5 years. I don't want to shortchange those guys, but some of the coolest items we've sent out, we've worked with the Shark Tank company Grip Mat, which is a silicone-based like tool and spare part holder. That was really neat. We've worked with a lot of really neat companies like Mishimoto. We've worked with Hoonigan several different times. It's just neat to meet some of these other business owners and be able to put their products in our box.
Are there certain things that you kept for yourself? You're like, man, these are the awesomest of the awesome.
Every month I take home like a little box of my own. So I have all my cleaning supplies and everything in the garage. All the tools. I have most t-shirts, but sometimes you get the luck of the draw and we're completely sold out of the size that I wear or something like that. There have been a couple of t-shirts that have slipped by that I just can't even get anymore.
So how do you go about building these relationships? Like, how do you figure out what to put in the box? How does that work?
I really like every kind of car. I try to keep myself as neutral as possible, being a Toyota motorhead. I still love the new Mustangs. I love the new Corvettes. I want to make something that everybody can find a use for the products that we're sending. I don't want to alienate any certain genre.
We going to see some model cars in the future, maybe some Hot Wheels, Matchbox type stuff in the box. I mean, there's that's also another side of collecting.
We have worked with M2 machines before and put their diecast in the box. Unfortunately, I've reached out to a lot of those companies and it's very hard to get in contact with some of those bigger diecasts and toy companies. But if any of them want to be in the box, we'll definitely put them in there.
I've been a subscriber now for over a year and I've been keeping an eye on things myself. And I find it funny. Every month there's a sticker in the box and I love it because they change. Sometimes it's a Corvette race car. A couple months ago, it was the Audi Sport Quattro, the S1, things like that. And so I have actually taken to turning them into magnets so I can have them on my refrigerator and all that kind of thing. So it's actually a lot of fun. I look forward to even those little things in the box, not just the cleaning supplies or the t-shirts. And there's been some really great t-shirts. And I got to say, the one you guys did for the overlanding community, for the off-roaders with the Jeep, that was absolutely fantastic. I love that kind of stuff. And there are a bunch of PetrolBox shirts I wear all the time. And people ask me, where did you get that? I'm like, came in my monthly box. You should sign up.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. Some of the shirts, I've been lucky enough to go to SEMA a couple times before COVID shut down pretty much everything. Some of the pictures I have on my phone are just people wearing PetrolBox shirts that I see just walking through the crowd. And it's just kind of neat to see that. Yeah, there's a lot of really neat things that we've put in the boxes. I'm really proud of like where it's kind of grown.
Inside the box, cleaning supplies, t-shirts, some sort of little kitschy item like the stickers or the magnets or whatever, some tools. Is there anything else in the box? Like, what should people expect when they open a box for the first time?
No, you'll always expect something that you're going to be able to wear, something you're going to be able to use to clean your car, and then just other really useful items. We always try to include one of our legendary livery stickers each month. We also have a magnet of one of our subscribers' cars. They really love that. We have an entire refrigerator in the warehouse just filled with magnets.
How do you become one of those rides of the month? How does that work?
If you want to reach out to us, info@mypetrolbox.com, just shoot us a high resolution photo. I keep those all in a folder every month. I just kind of go through and I'll double check, make sure you're still a subscriber, and then we'll throw that on the magnet and put it out the next month.
Awesome. So it's a subscription model, obviously. What are the tiers? What do you get in the different tiers, and what do they cost?
So we have our PetrolBox Basic, which is typically 2 to 3 items each month, starting at $19.95 a month. Then we have our PetrolBox Premium, which is typically 5 to 7 items. Some of the bigger, heavier items in this box starting at $39.95 a month. And depending on how long you subscribe, it does get a little bit cheaper as well.
So there's 2 tiers, and obviously it's probably cheaper
Correct.
if you buy the whole year up front than going monthly as well, right?
Correct. Yeah. If you bought 12 months for the subscription, you're basically getting like 2 months free.
You know, like a lot of other companies that do this, there's usually sister brands or other things that people aren't aware of. So is there anything else that PetrolBox or that you're involved in that you'd want to let people know about?
So recently, just this year, we did start our dog accessory brand. It's called Petrol Pup. Petrol Pup is a thing I've been working on for a while. I have probably the cutest dog in the world, and he just needed some more space to shine. So we got him his own little brand of car enthusiasts, motorsports inspired dog collars and leashes. And right now we have about 7 different designs.
And is that a separate subscription, or is that something that's included with PetrolBox?
It's not included in the PetrolBox. It's actually its own kind of separate thing. You can order some of the PetrolBox stuff to go in your first box, but we're never going to just blindly guess like what kind of dog or size of dog you have. So that stuff will be just all by itself. It's just something that we found pretty fun. And I thought it kind of fit a niche that there wasn't anything out there for, because my dog loves going to the car shows and all the attention he gets. So we just get him looking good for the car shows.
Doggy bandanas are big to do. We actually have them available on our store site as well with our logos on them. And a lot of our members, put them on their dogs. And obviously they switch them up. It's like wearing t-shirts, right? Well, this time I'm going to wear Formula One bandana. Next week I'm going to wear Petrol Beds bandana or whatever. So, it all works. But so you were talking about the subscription, all that, 5 years now in the making. How big has PetrolBox gotten? How many subscribers do you guys have?
So right now, typical month is a little over 1,500 boxes. So it's going all around the world. Takes quite a bit of time and effort to get those boxes put together.
So that being said, with us looking at the holiday season, it's very fast approaching. Any shout outs, promotions, special discounts, anything you want to throw out there? You want to let people know about?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the best coupon codes we have out there is 2021. You'll get 21% off your entire first order from PetrolBox. So you'll get that first month's box for 21% off.
That's a really solid deal. And that's good through the end of the calendar year, through 2021?
Correct.
Oh, that's awesome. Check that out, listeners. Get 21% off your subscription of PetrolBox starting now in the holidays through the end of the year. That's really, really cool. I also noticed on the website, there's win a set of rotiform wheels. How do we go about doing that exactly?
So every month we go through and we completely randomize our list of subscribers. We select one subscriber's box. We'll pull their shipping label out and add one of our golden tickets to the box. The golden ticket is a shiny, glittery ticket. It'll tell you that you've won a free set of rotiform wheels, and just email us. We'll get you in contact with one of our reps and we'll get those wheels sent out directly to you.
I tell you what, I did get a little excited one month, but then I realized it was exhaust wrap that was gold. And I was like,
oh yeah. I did have a few emails about that. People that were a little surprised that they thought they had won. And
I think that was April. So that made total sense. And I was like, oh man, I just got punked. I was like, it was pretty cool. It was a good joke, right? I was like, all right, whatever. So
yeah, that's a cool item too. A lot of people found uses for that.
Us track rats find use for all the things in the petrol box.
For sure.
So it's all good.
One of the main things about PetrolBox is that we kind of make sure that the box is out there for everyone. We recently just started to take people's information to let us know what kind of cars they like. So it's domestic, Asian, European, or if you just like everything. We are trying to create this box exactly for you.
Are you thinking like maybe themed boxes, like a Ferrari box one month and a BMW box another month, something like that to mix it up?
I think maybe those might be seasonal things when we have a little bit more time and effort, because PetrolBox is basically just me. I run the daily. I do all the packaging. I have a good group of friends that really help each month put the boxes together. All these friends are just huge motorheads, from drag racing to track to drifting, and we kind of support it all out there.
Mad props, by the way, because one of the boxes, I don't remember which month it was this year, there were socks from Heel Tread, and I got super excited because they were on the show as well. John Salo's super nice, and we talked about all sorts of things on his episode, and it was really cool to open a petrol box. Oh my God, there's Heel Tread socks in here. So it's good to see this cross-pollination in the motorsport enthusiast world and in the car enthusiast world, and you're bringing it all together, like you said, for all of us. And I think it's awesome. And you know, I look forward to every box I get every month, and I open it up and I'm like, yeah, this is great. You know, and unlike a lot of other box subscriptions, like ones you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, it did get to the point where it was very repetitive. And so I was like, you know, I don't want to see the same thing twice. And I can understand how difficult that is to source new things, unique things, and keep it interesting and keep it fresh. But, you know, mad props for doing this. And like you said, you're filling a corner of the car enthusiast world that nobody else is doing right now. And it's super awesome. It's commendable. And I can't say thank you enough.
I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, Heel Tread is a great company to work with. They're out of Portugal, and we've worked with them a couple of different times, actually. Like I said, we try not to overdo it, so we've sent out their socks 2 or 3 times, I think, now.
So, folks, to get the best in automotive swag and goodies, you definitely have to check out PetrolBox. Hop on over to
mypetrolbox.com
and see the previous month's collections and sign up today, especially using that coupon code 2021 to get 21% off your subscription, or follow them on social at petrol.box. John, I can't thank you enough for coming on and telling us about this, especially now that we're approaching the holiday season and people are thinking about gifts for their loved ones, especially for petrol heads. We're probably some of the toughest people to shop for because we already have all the toys and the gadgets and the tools. And PetrolBox, I think, just completes that missing thing that we're always looking for. It's a great stocking stuffer. So thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me on. It's great.
Absolutely.
If you like what you've heard and want to learn more about GTM, be sure to check us out on www.gtmotorsports.org. You can also find us on Instagram at Grand Touring Motorsports. Also, if you want to get involved or have suggestions for future shows, you can call or text us at 202-630-1770 or send us an email at crewchief@gtmotorsports.org. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey everybody, Crew Chief Eric here. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Break Fix, and we wanted to remind you that GTM remains a no annual fees organization, and our goal is to continue to bring you quality episodes like this one at no charge. As a loyal listener, please consider subscribing to our Patreon for bonus and behind-the-scenes content, extra goodies, and GTM swag. For as little as $2.50 a month, you can keep our developers, writers, editors, casters, and other volunteers fed on their strict diet of Fig Newtons, gummy bears, and Monster. Consider signing up for Patreon today at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. And remember, without fans, supporters, and members like you, none of this would be possible.